Plaintiff versus the Defendant. I've been quiet about everything that has happened with Arduino for a long time, but now that people are fraudulently saying that my work is theirs, I feel like I need to speak up about the past. For example, in the ongoing case between Arduino LLC and Arduino SRL, there is a claim by Plaintiff such that 34. Banzi is the creator of the Programma 2003 development platform, a precursor to the many Arduino branded products. See SourceForge.net Programma 2003. Banzi was also the master's thesis advisor for Hernanda Barragan, whose work would result in the wiring development platform which inspired Arduino. Here is what, in my opinion, is wrong with that claim. First, the Programma 2003 was not a development platform. It was simply a board. There was no software developed by the plaintiff to accompany that board. Second, the link is empty. There is no files in that SourceForge repository. So why present an empty repository as evidence? Third, the idea that the mere fact that Banzi was my thesis advisor gives him some sort of higher claim to the work done on wiring is, to say the least, frustrating to read. Further on. 39. The founders, assisted by Nicholas Zambetti, another student of IDI, undertook and developed a project in which they designed a platform and environment for microcontroller boards to replace the wiring development project. Banzi gave the project its name, the Arduino project. Here are the questions I'd ask the founders. Why did the wiring development project need to be replaced? Did you ask developer if he would work with you? Did you not like the original name? Banzi gave the project its name after all. I know it might be done now and again, but in my opinion it is unethical and bad example for academics to do something like this with the work of a student. Educators, more than anybody else, should avoid taking advantage of their students' work. In a way, I still feel violated by the founders for calling my work theirs. It may be legal to take an open source software and hardware project's model, philosophy, discourse, and the thousands of hours of work by its author, exert a branding exercise on it, and release it to the world as something new or inspired by, but is it right? Continuous misleading information. Someone once said, if you don't make things ultra clear, people draw their own conclusions and they become facts, even if we never said anything like that. It seems to me that this is universally true, and especially if you mislead people with only slight alterations to the truth, you can have control over their conclusions. Here are a couple of mainstream examples of misleading information. The infamous diagram. This diagram was produced to tell the story of prototyping tools developed at IDI It was beautifully done by Giorgio Oliveira, using the content provided by the school in 2005 and released in 2006. The projects represented in the red blobs, although they were made with wiring, appear to be associated with Arduino at a time when Arduino didn't even exist, nor was even close to being ready to do them. Some of the authors of the project inquired about the mistake and why their projects were shifted to Arduino, but received no response. Despite the fact that nothing was changed in this highly public document, I have to thank the support of the students who pointed it out and inquired about it. The Arduino documentary. Another very public piece of media from 2010 was the Arduino documentary, written and directed by Raul Alejos Rodrigo Calvo. This one is very interesting, especially seeing it today in 2016. I think the idea of doing a documentary is very good, especially for a project with such a rich history. Here are some parts that present some interesting contradictions. 145. We wanted it to be open source so that everybody could come and help and contribute. It is suggested here that wiring was closed source because part of wiring was based on processing, and processing was GPL open source, as well as all libraries wiring, and hence Arduino had to be open source. It was not an option to have it be closed source. Also, the insinuation that they made the software easier is misleading, since nothing changed in the language, which is the essence of the project simplicity. 320. David Quartiels already knew about wiring, as he was hired to design two plug-in boards for it by IDI in 2005, as pointed out earlier in this document. David Melis learned physical computing using wiring as a student at IDI in 2004. Interestingly, Gianluca came in as a person who was able to design the board itself. He wasn't just a contractor for manufacturing, he was part of the Arduino team. 853. David Quartiels is presenting at the Media Lab in Madrid in July 2005. Arduino is the last project. I finished it last week. I talked to Ivre's technical director and told him, wouldn't it be great if we can do something we offer for free? He says, for free? Yeah. David comes across here as the author of the project that he completed last week and convincing the technical director at IDI to offer it for free. – 1856. Massimo Banzi. For us at the beginning it was a specific need. We knew the school was closing and we were afraid that lawyers would show up one day and say everything here goes into a box and gets forgotten about. So we thought, okay, if we open everything about this, then we can survive the closing of the school. So that was the first step. This one is very special. It misleadingly presents the fact of making Arduino open source as a consequence of school closing. This poses a question: why would a bunch of lawyers put in a box a project based on other open source projects? It is almost puerile. The problem is common people might think this is true, forming altruistic reasons for the team to make Arduino open source.